Welcome to ADF Active Podcast 1, The Journey Ahead. My name's Amelia and I'll be talking to Monique from the Air Force, Chelsea, our mindfulness instructor and psychology expert, and Dinny, our fitness expert. Today we'll cover the philosophy behind the app's development and why it can help you in many more ways than just fitness and the different stages of your personal program. We'll also talk about all the features of ADF Active and how they'll guide you on the journey to fulfilling your goals. So Chelsea and Dinny and Monique, would you mind giving us a bit of a background of yourselves and your role and also what involvement you have in the service health?
Yeah, certainly. So I've been in the military or the Air Force for 15 years. I started out as a military working dog handler, did that for 6 years, and then now I've been a physical training instructor, or a PTI for short, for the last 8 years. So I have always been brought up with sports and, developed a fitness lifestyle. So it was my passion to transfer across. I actually am a supervisor at the recruit training unit, and we see people coming in all the time, to enlist for the Air Force. So, it's my passion to see people from day one to graduate at week 11.
Great. And Dinny, what about your involvement in fitness and how you got into it?
So I got into fitness after my father died of an obesity-related heart attack. So I decided it was kind of time for me to make some changes in my own life. And then, I started exercising, started the whole fitness journey, and loved it so much. I decided that I would like to help other people go through that fitness journey as well. So now I work with clients ranging from, people that need to lose 35 kgs up to guys that can, deadlift 120 kgs. They sometimes will come in, they can't do a push-up or a lunge or a bodyweight squat. So I basically take them from that position and then take them to advanced sort of exercises.
Okay, excellent. What about you, Chelsea? What's your involvement in fitness and service health?
Yeah, so I've always taken good care of my physical health, but mental health probably not so as much. And then 2015, I had a really personal experience where I suffered severe postnatal depression. And that was the catalyst there to actually start investing in my psychological well-being. So after leaving the hospital, I enrolled back into university to study psychology and neuroscience because I was now so fascinated with our brain. Became an internationally accredited mindfulness and meditation teacher, an ambassador for Are You OK and the Gidget Foundation, because my passion is really around mental health, and I train organisations these days like eBay and Uber around psychological well-being and transitioning people from being well and staying well from a mental standpoint.
That's fantastic. So I've applied for a job in the ADF and I feel like I've got the right people in the room here. So I've got someone to help me transform internally, transform externally, and also someone to guide me through from an ADF point of view as well. So I've applied for a job in the ADF and I'm a bit concerned about being fit enough to join, and I've downloaded this app to help me. So Monique, what can I expect?
You can expect a little bit of a life change. Depending on what your current training regime is and what your current lifestyle consists of at the moment, will determine how far you need to go and how much you need to do. But building a fitness regime into your busy schedule usually means that something's got to give, perhaps some temptations or maybe, some late nights out. The best you can be means you'll have to be able to discipline to commit yourself to the following program that you're given, and the ADF app will supply that for you. And along the way, you'll have to learn to resist some of those life temptations. No more donuts.
Great. And Chelsea, what about changing habits and routine? I guess that's one of the hardest things to do when you've lived a certain way and also you've been eating a certain way. Do you have any tips about trying to help succeed in resisting those temptations and becoming a lot more disciplined in the way you eat, I guess?
I just think just a little bit every day in terms of, when you're starting to form these new habits, consistency is better than quantity. So when you're exercising for a couple of minutes a day or you're learning how to meditate or practice mindfulness, if you just start these little bite sizes every single day and building up that time rather than thinking, I've got to get up today and run a marathon and you haven't done any training prior to that. So I think with all habits and building them into any routine with everything in life, I think just those little bite-sized wins to start with until your brain is actually starting to form new habits for you and it gets easier. And the more you're exercising and then you start eating eating well, and then you start taking your brain to the gym, and it just flows on in a very positive way.
Yeah. So mind and body together, and of course, I guess in terms of advice, where will the advice that you have usually stem from? So I'll start with you, Monique.
In regards to training and I suppose preparation for military life, it would be starting to develop a bit of a structure. So the military is structured at majority of the time. So start formulating, some good habits in, regular wake-up times, regular sleep times, and then start fitting in a schedule of when the best time to train would be for you, and a good consistent eating pattern as well. Because when you come through on your successful completion of your PFA, you will pretty much be dictated by time in regards to when and where you can do things. So, formulating a good system and a structure and a regime prior to that will definitely help you out in being less stressed, some less anxiety, and you're already in that pattern and training regime.
And in terms of the app, I guess there are physical training instructors that are on there. I guess, would you mind telling us how that will help that will help me to actually get that discipline and establishing that structure in my day?
Yeah, definitely. It guides you in regards to specific times that you could train. So it starts making a schedule for you. Mm-hmm. It identifies the exercise techniques for you as well, so you're not sort of left in the dark in regards to how the exercises are completed. And same with being able to have those temptations that want to niggle at you. You'll identify on the app, a good time to have those. So you get a little bit of a life balance as opposed to having it all the time.
So Chelsea, mind and body together?
Yeah, Amelia, that's right. And spirit too, I suppose. Getting fitter makes you feel and look better. And that helps people with their confidence and general outlook on life. But to get there takes a lot of mental effort, as well as the physical. So ADF Active shows you ways to push through the tough times by concentrating on the good times ahead.
Well, that's great. So I've had a go on the ADF Active app, and it's kind of like having a life and fitness coach by your side. So it really helps you get to where you want to be with a lot of helpful tips and guidance. So Monique, where's all this advice coming from?
It's actually coming from physical training instructors like me. And we'll help with the exercises in regards to having videos that will demonstrate the exercises, and it'll be like having the coach next to you, guiding you in regards to what techniques are required, how many reps are required, and the pace as well, because the test is done to a cadence. So there'll be videos to assist you with that. You'll also meet people who share their knowledge of nutrition and lifestyle in general, as well as those who can help with things like stress and anxiety and preparing for the big day, which is really important. It's sort of like a complete package.
Okay, great. So in terms of the program you'll be setting me, how does it work and what can I expect?
In regards to the ADF app, it will give you you'll have to conduct a screen first so they can see where your actual basic level of fitness is, and then it will design from your results a 12-week training program. So when you input your PFA date for enlistment, it will design a program for you to gradually build up and progress into being able to pass that PFA, whether it's for the Army, Navy or the Air Force. You could just think of it as a 3-month general fitness push, but the way it's structured guides you towards a specific date, both mentally and physically.
Well, that's really great. Look, I'm hoping to fly a helicopter. So why do I need to be fit?
Everyone who joins the ADF needs to be fit, and it's more to prevent injuries, and it's to determine, if you have that physical and mental capability in regards to progressing with the specific military demands that your career could potentially bring you, regardless if you're going to be a soldier, sailor or airman, or even just a doctor. Passing the fitness test, it helps you prepare for your training, and it will actually make your time at your training unit actually a little bit easier, less stressful, and you'll enjoy it a hell of a lot more.
Okay, great, thanks. So Monique, passing a fitness test helps make sure that you're prepared for the training. And as you mentioned, it's not massively high standard, just enough fitness to make sure you get through the first weeks okay. So how does the app do that?
It'll conduct a screen for you, so you'll go through the test and it will come up with how many repetitions you completed or you were able to complete within the sit-ups, the push-ups, and then what level you'll get at the beep test. And then it will build up a program for you, and it will start off with body weight exercises because not everyone has access to the gymnasium. It is all body weight. You can do it in your office, you can do it in your room, you can do it at home, and it will progressively build you up. As you get better and as you get fitter, the repetitions will increase for you up until the point that you can comfortably pass the physical fitness assessment within the 12-week range.
So, Monique, the program has 5 distinct phases. And the first one is get set and focus on your goals. Can you explain what that's about?
This is the first 4 or 5 days of your new life when you're having a look around the app, getting a little bit familiar with it and exploring its features and seeing what it can do for you. It's when you give the app a few details about yourself. It conducts a fitness screen, what service obviously you want to join, whether it's the Navy, Army or Air Force, because they are actually different standards. And it will personalise the exercise program for you. Your overarching goal is to pass the PFA. So therefore it will start putting in little phases for you to be able to progress, and it'll dictate within the program, certain things that will be specific to your needs to make you or to enable you to pass that PFA.
Okay, that's great. So it goes straight into a workout.
Pretty much, but you'll also be setting your objectives and getting mentally prepared as well for the journey ahead. So that's where it has the videos and meditation guides and whatnot to assist you in that space. And it will enable you to be able to feel and look better, and motivate you to hit the ground running, so to speak.
Okay, well, that's great. So in the app, the next stage is called Gaining Foundational Knowledge. That doesn't sound very physical.
No, but it's all part of supporting your workouts with the mental side of things. So you can use all the articles, as I said before, and the videos and this podcast will assist you to help structure your exercise routine and build the workouts into your schedule, because things might have to change. So while adding in all important recovery days, your muscles will actually do the repairing and the growing, so you pretty much don't overload yourself and end up getting an injury. This is when you also have to think about your diet and other lifestyle things such as stress management, because this is a massive change to you currently taking on this journey. Okay,
so Dinny, on these recovery days, what do you usually advise your clients? Because we always seem to, whenever we try and get fit, we think, you have to exercise every single day, and we do forget that, recovery is a really important part of maintaining health and as part of the fitness, regime.
Yeah, sure. So when you first start out, you may have a little bit of DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness. We've all experienced that. So that can last, if you just start out, that can last sometimes up to a week, sometimes for some people a week and a half. Just really depends. Just remember to keep hydrated and so forth. But to have a day off, you've got to think that essentially what you're doing is you're trying to build up your fitness. So you've got to allow the body to basically repair and recoup itself. So that means, on the day that you're not training, you're putting that health and nutrition into your body. So helping the body along a lot more.
Okay, great. So that's the body point of view. And Chelsea, what about the mind?
Yeah, so I think sometimes the danger is to start thinking you've got this exercise thing nailed, and then you might be tempted to ease up or have one too many French champagnes or whatever your vice is. And you have to really push through these thoughts and stay committed and focused on your goals. And a big thing sometimes psychologically is our inner critic can rise its head, or our ego gets in the way. And when that does rear its head, just noticing that, letting it go and being refocused in terms of what your long-term goal is here. Because as human beings, we all have those thoughts, and just to give yourself a pat on the back and that you're achieving a lot by doing this type of program with the ADF.
Okay, great. So, Monique, how does the app tell you, what to do in terms of exercising? Like I know, and in terms of the program, so how does that work?
It's guided the whole way. You will do a bodyweight workout. You'll then have a recovery session. So each day it will actually have on the application what you'll do for that day. And it will change things up in regards to your recovery. So it's not the same thing, whether it's cycling, whether it's swimming, or whether it's a nice long walk outside. And it will guide you through. And as you progress, the repetitions or the recovery, the duration can potentially change depending on your progression.
Okay, great. And what about the recovery days? So how does that help you with your recovery days?
So with the application, it will tell you in regards to the style, the intensity, depending on how you're feeling as well. So if you are quite fatigued or tired, like what Denny said in regards to DOMS, so how sore you are, you can gauge. And it's self-paced as well. It's there as a guide, just like a coach is there to assist you along the way. And it will prevent you from not doing it at all.
So we're going back to the program stages. We've just spoken about gaining foundational knowledge. So what's the third stage of the app?
Third stage is varying your routine and keep evolving. Around the 6 to 8 week mark, we start to hit a little bit of a plateau. We get a little bit fatigued, and that's when we start to think it's getting all too hard, or your body isn't actually changing or developing, because it does give us, we need to start changing things. Our body starts to get in that little bit of a normality time frame at that stage, and there's very little adaptation. Or if we stop seeing results or changes, we can potentially stop training altogether. So the next 4 weeks, the ADF Active app mixes things up. So that's where we'll change your repetitions and some slight variations within the exercises as well. But again, it's there to be your coach every step of the way, so you're not left in the dark or in the unknown, and it will maintain a steady intensity for you to continue on your journey for passing your PFA.
So Denny, like your body has acclimatised and plateaued. What are ways of, avoiding that or pushing through?
Is, have a little bit of a break, possibly, and then going back into it. Sometimes can be changing the rep range or the type of exercises that you're doing, increasing your weights, whatever it may be, whatever you're using at the time. Sometimes it can be even getting partnering up with someone, so then that way they're able to keep you accountable and push you past whatever rep range you need to be getting past. Resetting yourself a time limit, getting the workout done, and then, moving on to the next thing. So, yeah.
So Monique, it's what I found with the ADF Active app is that it is like having my personal guide, as you mentioned. So the program itself involves 3 workouts a week, and it also helps me choose the best times for my exercise. But what about the videos?
Yeah, well, the videos will help you use the correct technique. So we'll outline, your posture, the movement pattern and specificity of the actual exercise. And it can cover up to, 12 or a dozen or so different exercises in doing so. So this will mean that you're working at the right pace, and it will actually reduce your chances of injury as well, because you're moving through a quality movement pattern, and it will ensure that you don't over-exercise or overload the body, and that you're doing everything right.
Okay, so we've covered the gaining foundational knowledge stage. So Monique, back to the next program stages. So what's next after that?
Well, that would put us up to the third stage, which is ramping up your effort and feel the results. This will run from weeks 3 through to 8, and this is when your body is becoming acclimatised to the demands you're putting on it. It's able to steadily accept more, and you can actually put in more effort. In turn, conducting more repetitions or being able to run a little bit further. You'll be able to feel the benefits of the work you're putting in.
Great, I like this stage already. But I guess in this stage there is also that tendency for your body to plateau.
This is where that exercise fatigue may come in, and it's around the 8-week mark. It's, things start to get that little bit too hard, and, our mind starts to get, I suppose, a little bit, foggy, because we're trying to see, especially if results aren't showing, we need to be able to develop and adapt to push even further now in regards to our training. So the ADF Active app, like Denny said, changing your training regime, your reps and your exercises, the ADF Active app will mix things up for you, but it will maintain the steady intensity, introducing the different exercises and variety to keep you stimulated and more motivated to carry on.
Okay, and I guess around now you'll be thinking about how far you've come and what you've achieved, and the finishing line is in sight.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We've now reached the 5th and final stage of the program, which is called the taper off your effort and prepare for assessment. At this point, it's all about replacing the physical preparation with the mental preparation. So it works hand in hand and more holistically as you enter the week running up to your ADF fitness test or your PFA. So this is a time to ease up completely on the exercise. Don't overload or get too excited to think you can do more, and focus on your mind with winning and being more successful.
And presumably there's some nerves at this point as well.
Definitely, and you're only human. So we all get nervous at certain points when we're faced with a challenge. So the app will help you get over the anxiety using the various relaxation techniques and the guided meditations, and even just reading an article to take your mind off, I suppose, the complexity of it all. It gives you a whole load of practical tips to help you prepare for the big day, specifically, like what to eat the night before and what to wear and bring with you as well, just so you're prepared.
Okay, and Chelsea, in terms of, I mentioned there could be some nerves at this point. What are your tips or advice to manage the anxiety and getting you mentally prepared, especially since, you've been physically preparing yourself for this PFA? But as we've mentioned, it's not only just about the physical side of things. You need to be prepared mentally as well. So this is basically the big time. And what are your advice around anxiety management?
So as Monique mentioned, the app will definitely help you get over the anxiety, or at least assist you with some various relaxing techniques around deep breathing, and the guided meditations will also help you become calm and relaxed and stay focused. Because it is so important. It's not about just, physically working out of the gym and what we're actually putting inside of our mouth and what we're eating. It's also really important to make sure we're taking care of our psychological well-being.
Okay, well, that's the 5 stages of the ADF Active program, and I see there's articles on the app that go into more detail on each. Monique, is there anything else you wanted to say right now?
Pretty much. Good luck. You've prepared yourself for this long, that you can only do so much. And if you've done everything right up until this point, then you should feel confident leading up into the PFA. It is achievable. It's not unrealistic. As long as you stick to the ADF Active app and the program that it outlines for you at every single stage, you should be right. It's worth remembering that however fit you are, you could still be failed using an incorrect technique. So for your push-ups or your sit-ups, and potentially not even putting your foot on that line for the beep test as well. So make sure you check, ask questions and get somebody else, a physical training instructor potentially in a location near you that could, assist you with your technique specifically, as opposed to, just relying on that app and a video. Get someone else to check for you. There's, you could have a few ups and downs along the way, but you're not alone. There's a lot of people trying to enlist into the ADF. So the ADF Active app will help you celebrate all the milestones. It gives you little rewards along the way to keep those incentives up and push you through those tough times. So good luck. And we'll all be there for you, and I could probably see you at One RTU.
That's great. Well, thank you, Monique. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Denny. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more podcasts as you go through your ADF Active training program.